So the first thing we're gonna do, we'll just go ahead and go into making it, is I'm gonna mix the dry ingredients in the bowl first, and then I like to add the coconut oil to it. Now I've done it the other way. In fact, I did it that way last night to make up the samples that you can take home, and it works fine. You just have to do a lot of whisking, and then the samples got cold. So we'll talk about that at the end and why that's a little bit different. So I have baking soda, bentonite clay. I think I said that backwards. I tried to put these in order. Oh, arrowroot powder. They look the same. And diatomaceous earth. And we've got our essential oils. And this is the grapefruit seed extract. It's not necessary, but just something that I happen to have on hand for other things. So because it called for it, I said, oh yay, I have that, you know. So we'll start measuring. First, we're gonna do 6 tablespoons of the arrowroot powder, and I have already measured it, but I'm just gonna do it with you. So 1, 2. I knew I'd make a mess if I.
So what is the benefit of grapefruit seed extract? I'm not familiar with that one.
That one is good for antibacterial. So that's always a good thing.
So is it like an oil since it's a seed extract?
It is. It's grapefruit seed extract is kind of, yeah, it does seem kind of like a thick oil.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we do the drops, maybe you'll be able to see kind of how they come out. Okay, and then we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of the bentonite clay. Now, you can make a deodorant that doesn't use bentonite clay because this will color it. This is the color our deodorant's gonna come out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I haven't found that to be a problem in the deodorant because if you put a thin layer on, even though I notice sometimes it'll get on my undershirts or, you know, a little cup, it washes right out. So I haven't found that it stains. But that's just something to keep in mind. Like maybe you were having someone use it and they're like, ew, you know, you could take that part out. It's a really good toxin puller, so it's a good thing to have in there. Diatomaceous earth might do a little bit of it, but it's more of a silica base, so it's not necessarily doing the same thing. But you could probably even use the red clay if you want it to be red instead of green, but I don't know if that matters. Baking soda, okay, so we're gonna put a tablespoon of baking soda. Now, I try to make a batch, because I'm making it all the time and having my family and people use it. And so my husband's my best critic, and I try to do it without the baking soda because I was trying to test out the sensitive ones, and he's like, I don't like it. He likes it better with the baking soda because it really did help stop the sweat, or at least have it so it doesn't smell. And so I said, all right, we'll make ours with baking soda. But we didn't have a reaction to it, so there's no reason for us not to use it. But if someone did, then you can make it without it. All right, and then 1 tablespoon of diatomaceous earth. Okay, so we're gonna stir these just to get them mixed. And then I'd already pre-measured the coconut oil, so we have the 5 tablespoons of coconut oil in here and the 1 tablespoon of beeswax. All right. I'm just gonna pour it in. And you want it, you want this hot enough that when you're doing it, it's not hardening right when you're trying to stir it, because it will do that. And there's all different kinds of recipes out there. So if this is something you're interested in using, I would try out different things. And the nice thing is the batches aren't really big, so you can just make it and then use it. And then if you don't like it, try something different or add or take away stuff. This particular one, we'll see how much it makes because we're doing it right now. But you could even half this recipe if you just want to make just like 1 of these. So it's already a little bit thicker than I want to pour in there. So I'm gonna tell you that I would get it hotter. So I'm not gonna be able to actually pour this into there. Now, if I was doing this maybe like in the pot, which is how I did it last night, I could heat it up a little bit more. So I can stick it back in there. Do you guys want me to see it? Do you want to see me pour it in here? Would that be good? Okay. This is a good lesson of, well, it's not, I didn't gauge the temperature, so I couldn't tell you. I just know that it has to be hot enough that it'll work. So we'll just go ahead and put it in our pan, so you can kind of see how gloppy it is. Now this would be good for putting into like a little jar. It would be fine.
Lip gloss the other day with some girls.
Yeah.
The bowl was really cold. And
Oh.
we poured the oil out into the cold bowl and hardened up.
Harden up. Oh no. Yeah, see, when we talk about temperatures are always really important in these situations. The good thing is it melts pretty quick. Do any of you use natural deodorant, one that you buy or make?
We bought some from here.
You bought some from here?
I use like the crystal.
Oh, okay. Those are good. That's what I had used until someone had, introduced me to, hey, there's other kind of deodorants. I'm like, really? Because you can't make the crystal, so I figured, well, I'll just buy it. It lasts a long time, and it works well. But if you're using something like that, like the crystal, and then you move on to something like this, you'll do really well. But people that have been just using a regular, especially an antiperspirant, and then they're trying to change to something natural, you're going to go through some trial time. There's going to be some changes that are going to happen. And at first, people say, well, it's not working. But you have to give your body some time to mostly eliminate all the toxins that you had been putting in there. And so I don't know if anybody's in that situation or if you know anybody that's going to want to try it. But it's good to do a little bit of research or understand that could happen, and that's natural. All right, so it's liquidy enough. That was actually pretty quick. And I'm going to use a measuring cup just so I don't spill everywhere. This will be good. We can see how much it actually takes. This is a fourth a cup. It's not quite full, but I'm going to pour one of them in there. See how much it takes. Okay, so second, fourth cup, not quite full. So we're almost to a half a cup. It's looking like it's taking most of the batch.
So do you find that this works well for your, if I have a stinky teenager?
Well, that is a good question. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so that's as full as you want to do that, and then it's got the little screw part that'll help it raise up later. So we're gonna let that cool. Okay, so your question was, do I find that this deodorant works well for stinky teenagers? Well, I have teenagers. I don't know how often they're always using my deodorant, but they all have some. And they don't smell. They do work hard. I think it does. The things I will tell you is it only lasts 24 hours. So if somebody goes longer than that from taking a shower, which is totally fine, you would just want to reapply it. But I do know that it works for 24 hours. If I gotta get a container. Hold on. I realize it's cooling. I better work while I'm talking. Have you ever gotten nervous and your sweat's different? Do you know why that is? So there's different hormones and things released for different situations, and clearly, even without doing any studying, I know for a fact that when you get nervous, or maybe scared, but nervous, I sweat more, and I don't want to say it's necessarily stinkier, but it's definitely a different smell. So it has something to do with hormones, right, and the things that are being released. So I'm guessing that a stinky teenager is going through hormonal stuff, because that's pretty typical, right? And so they're stinkier that way.
Right.
So no, it's not going to stop them from being smelly, but it's definitely going to help their body perspire naturally. And, I still use like a body spray or something that I make with essential oils as my perfume so that I smell good, because, I totally forgot to put,
I was just wondering about that.
totally forgot to do that. See, it's hard to talk and do things.
Sorry.
So you would put 10 drops in, right, as it's liquidy, and then you would put your essential oil. So this is gonna be a fragrance-free version, but I like using frankincense, because frankincense is a good shield for scents and things. It's an expensive one. This particular one that they have here is actually mixed with oil, so it's not 100%, which kind of makes sense, but it still smells good. And then I happen to, in the sample that you'll get, I put the frankincense and then I use camphor, which is not a normal essential oil that I carry for like my soaps and stuff, but I loved the smell of it. It says that it's cinnamon based, like that's the genus family, but it smells more like fir or almost tea tree-y. So tea tree is a good one to put in deodorants, but I think I put on there that like lavender is a good one for it to be real mild and have, but not all men or people necessarily want lavender, right? So you'll have to just go with what smell, but it's not going to be super strong where you can say, oh yeah, I can smell that essential oil, but it's a nice, real neutral.
Maybe a hormone balance or a teenager.
Yeah, I'm sure you could put a lot more in it for them. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I know that it works, but I know my youngest teenager really loves to use something that's super smelly. So at least I found him something that was a deodorant as opposed to an antiperspirant. And so it's gonna act exactly the same way. It's just got a stronger smell to begin with. So when they put it on, they're feeling like, yeah, I smell really good, and not realizing that, well, you're gonna smell the same as you would if you use this in like a half an hour. So you just have to do the best you can. I find with kids and family that you can't talk everybody into wanting to do all the same things that, right? Obviously we're all healthy minded, but it doesn't mean everybody wants to do it, right? Just trying to get this out of here. Okay, so does anyone have any questions? That literally is about all there is to making deodorant. It does need to set up, so the coconut oil will harden. The samples I have for you are very hard because they actually got pretty cold in my car and garage while they were just, waiting. They will work just fine. The temperature of your hand, and then of course of the rest of your body, armpits and whatnot, will help melt it, and then it'll spread. Okay. So we'll get this out of the way. It's messy, but fun. It'll be interesting. Yeah, it just doesn't smell like anything. It's not bad, it just doesn't smell like anything. So I love putting essential oils in.